On this perilous day in the beautiful city of Kyoto, me and my tour group were tasked with visiting the biggest shrine in all of Japan, Fushimi Inari. I was very excited for this particular task as I could live out my vagabond Ghost of Tsushima dreams. But once we got there, I became lost in my epic quest, and about halfway up learned that my entire group had already left the mountain and headed to a totally different part of Kyoto. At this point I should have turned back, but within me was a desire to keep going, to reach the more ancient parts of our world. Despite the cold solitude of this task, inside of my soul I found an invincible summer. And so I continued the climb, alone. As I continued the hike through 10,000 tour gates, I was guided on by several cats. Fushimi Inari is well known for being absolutely jam-packed with tourists, but because of how far along I was and the hour of the day, the second half of my climb was actually mostly spent alone. This honestly was amazing, getting to just be in constant awe of the beauty of such a place, and stumbling upon shrines felt like finding old secrets left untouched by time. As I climbed, I reflected on much, but I knew it was good to have this time, as the next day I was fated to face my brother in combat at a Kendo training seminar here in Kyoto. I knew I would need to find peace here on the mountain before returning to my tour group, into the modern world. Towards the top, interesting changes happened. Suddenly there were light posts with the lights on despite it being daytime. Created a very unique and interesting vibe for the last stretch of the climb, before finally I reached the summit. I awkwardly asked some fellow climbers to take a picture of me at the summit, and I even discovered a fortune reader that I drew from, but I don't know what was on it, as it was all in Japanese. But I'm in the middle of a Japanese studying challenge here on the channel right now, so I think it's finally time. All this was 2 years ago now, so maybe it already happened? The trek back down the mountain was easier than going up. There were significantly more tourists this time, but squeezing past them on the way out wasn't too hard. I also stopped by a shop that had opened on the mountain, that was closed on the way up, and bought some little fox charms for me and my brother. Now, my goal was to find out where in this city my tour group had gone. I made my way to a train and found out they were at the Higashiyama district, which meant climbing up another mountain. I got off my train, grabbed a little onigiri snack from a konbini, and set off on my newest quest, refreshed from my shrine adventure. Eventually arrived at truly one of the most magical places on Earth, Starbucks. In reality, this one was actually very cool, and as someone who works at Starbucks, that means a lot for me. There were 2 levels, with the top featuring little elevated tatami mats to sit on with others. From there, finally reunited with my group, I squeezed into a pretty sick-looking kimono and attended a tea ceremony. Unfortunately, my juvenile rheumatoid arthritis makes sitting properly for a long time kind of suck, but I locked in as I was chosen to be the honored guest of this ceremony. I of course didn't record any of it, because that would be insane, but I was a very big fan. Me, my brother, and another guy in our group ended up walking across the entire city to an indoor rock climbing gym on a whim, which was super dope, and then it was finally time, the next day, the day of my duel. I listened to Nujabes the whole walk to the dojo to hype me up, get me in the samurai spirit, and then we were suiting up. To be honest, the dogi was super comfortable, and I would wear it all the time if I owned one. From there, our sensei taught us all we would need to know to face off with each other, but then a great revelation happened. We learned that after our duels with our partners, we would have the opportunity to face him in combat ourselves. Even back then, before I was turning my life into content for YouTube, I knew this would be cool, and so I locked in. Unfortunately, no footage remains of my duel with my brother, but years of sparring with lightsabers I think had made us comfortable with hitting each other with weapons, so ours was especially brutal and long compared to our friends. Alas, no winner was decided, but I was granted permission to face my sensei one-on-one, and this time there is a video. It's not totally easy to tell by the video, but he totally kicked my butt. And it was awesome to face someone who could kick it so gently, like I was simply a fly he was gently swatting away. Anyway, to wrap this up, here's a YouTube short I made about going to the Monkey Mountain the next day in Kyoto. Bye-bye. When I found out there was a mountain full of monkeys right next to Kyoto, I knew I had to make a pilgrimage to go see them. Armed with a cucumber I bought at a kombini, I set out on my quest. Turns out the monkeys are super dangerous, and this sign told me how to know if they were angry or scary. However, the monkeys were actually super cool, and were actually just a ton of silly guys hanging out. They even let me sit on their banana, and that is why